Hi, friends.
Welcome to the Nora and Becks podcast.
I'm Nora.
And I'm Becks. Today we're talking about episode 83 of the Imp and Skizz podcast, the Rendog story.
Oh, guest?
Oh, dude, literally
First
called
guest
it?
recap. Yeah,
First
for real.
guest recap. So exciting. So, what are your thoughts?
It was a good episode. I feel like Ren is probably one of the people I know the least about on the Hermitcraft server. So it was like very interesting to learn more about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a very charismatic person.
Very. It does not surprise me at all, even though, like, obviously he didn't have that many listeners. The fact that he hosted a radio late night show in college checks out so much.
Yeah, true. He would have a radio show.
I feel like he should do audiobook readings.
Yeah.
Like, he has such a...
He has just a cool voice.
Nice voice. I could just listen to it for hours, honestly.
Yeah. And I think that that's the general consensus if you look at the comments under the video.
Yes, the comments are something.
They're funny.
They are so
funny.
But
yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's been nice. They've had really nice consistency with this episode. I think they finally I feel like it was a great balance of like very much honing in on Minecraft conversations without going on like little rabbit trails, getting distracted by squirrels.
Yeah.
And but they still felt natural. It didn't feel like they were restricting themselves.
Yeah.
But definitely every time he talked about one of the bands that we know Impulse and Skizz love, I was like, oh, they gotta be so excited.
Yeah, definitely. It was funny.
So I loved that part at the end when they were referencing that. They're like, we're waiting. We're saving it for the next one.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what they talk about in the next one for sure.
I'm excited to learn, hopefully a little bit more, like, into, like, I mean, I feel like we did learn quite a bit about his personal life, but I'm excited to hear more about things, like, outside of his content creation.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah.
I love that we got to hear that Minecon story of Skizz's again.
Yes, such a good story.
Yeah.
Makes me, again, just, like, really depressed that Minecon hasn't happened in so long.
I know. It is
Minecraft,
really sad.
When are you going to bring that back, actually? Can you...
yeah, for real.
Can you maybe consider? We're begging.
It would be huge, actually, I think.
It would be kind of overwhelming, honestly, but I'll be there. Anywhere in the world that they decide to host it.
Yeah, honestly, same.
I'll do everything in my power to be there.
Yeah. That story always makes me like it makes me like happy for them both because I feel like it's so sweet that Skizz was there to watch Impulse grow and see his progression and then to finally be at a place where he's there with him is so cool.
It's so cool, dude.
And that he was never like jealous. He was always just proud of his friend.
Yeah. I love their relationship. It's just so strong and has such deep roots.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. They're definitely big inspirations.
Yeah.
And I loved just like even the beginning when Ren was just expressing his nervousness.
Yeah.
He's so humble and so kind and just like loves to talk up the people that he knows, like because he sees such quality in the people around him and values them so much. It's so sweet.
Except for Etho, he gets too much credit.
Yeah, well. Yeah. But deep down, he, along with everyone else who watches Minecraft YouTube, is an Etho fangirl.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how you could not be.
So chill.
Even if he is washed up, it's just like it's okay.
Yeah.
He needs something to balance him out with the rest of the people in the world,
Yeah, true.
But yeah, just like honestly, just hearing him talk about his experience with Hermitcraft and his feelings of like, even though he's been there since what, season 4,
Yeah.
he still feels like the new kid.
Yep.
And hearing him talk about how like him and Impulse and Skizz, because really they kind of got on the YouTube scene at the same time, even though it was smaller. Like it's like he says, they grew up watching Etho and B-Dubs and Doc, and admiring them and aspiring to be, that passionate and be in that place. And then, I mean, I've only really gotten into this in the last few years watching this content. And like, they're all on the same level and they're all friends because they're just people.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that like all of them are just interacting and like hanging out and seeing how that dynamic has shifted. And also just at the same time, Ren and them just really maintaining their humility and just like him feeling so honored and privileged to be part of Hermitcraft, but also like, not having imposter syndrome necessarily. It's just so cool. It makes me like, it inspires me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, you and I going into mentally thinking about, stepping into that world and starting YouTube channels in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
I feel like we're so small, like nobody, like I feel like it would take so long and so much hard work to get to that place, but it's like people like them make me feel like that's not something that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah. And in reality, like thinking about it, Minecraft's only been a thing since like 2012.
Yeah,
The fact
that
that
really
they're
hasn't been that
so
long.
huge and it's only been 12 years
Mm-hmm.
since the game was even released. Like Mumbo's only played Minecraft for like 10 years.
That's bizarre.
And he's been on Hermitcraft since season 2. Like it didn't take long for him. But obviously like the space for that was less saturated, so like they were kind of
yeah,
lucky in
it
that
is
way,
so
but
saturated now. Yeah. But I
yeah.
will say, like, even in my time of like exploring, watching, these people that are bigger that I know from the Life series and Hermitcraft, I see YouTube's algorithms show me channels that are small.
Yeah.
Like I'll see recommendations for similar life SMPs that are inspired by Koreans and they have like only a couple hundred views, but they're ending up in my feed to view.
Yeah.
And I do check them out sometimes when I have time and I want to do it more, but like that kind of gives me hope in knowing that like YouTube's not, YouTube is still for small content creators.
Yeah.
And they're still looking out for their people who are on their platform, which is cool. I really hope that that continues to be the case.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the only thing that we need to actually do is make videos and make them entertaining. That would be the hard part.
Right. Yeah. I definitely like have some levels of imposter syndrome thinking about it. Like
I tried. It's weird to talk to nobody.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
I guess in a really small sense, I have some experience with making YouTube videos because I did try to have a channel when I was in early high school and through high school. I was making ukulele and guitar, piano, music covers.
Yeah.
And I did talk a little bit to the camera, like intro, outro, bloopers. And it never really went anywhere. I feel like I did get almost 100 subscribers.
Nice.
Which was like,
yeah, decent.
not bad. I had like one song that blew up. a little. By blew up, I mean it had like 3,000. But that's
pretty good,
nothing
though.
to.
If my
Yeah, like
Minecraft
that's
video got
crazy for
3,000
me.
views, I'd be like,
Yeah,
holy cow, that's insane.
yeah, so wild. But yeah,
I think that it's
I
interesting to think about, like, my inspiration probably the most. Obviously, like, the big name people, but, like, the person that I feel the most close to and the most, like, what they have is attainable would be Jimmy.
yeah,
Because he's a little newer. He didn't have that many subscribers
you cut
until
out. I didn't
recently.
hear what you said.
Oh, he's just still, he was smaller until like recently,
Yeah,
and he kind of blew up.
that
But
short really blew him up.
yeah, but it's like he's still like trying. He's posting all the time. He's always doing streams, and he seems like the
Mm-hmm.
same, like the kind of person that's like still working their way up, as opposed to like Green or Mumbo who post every once in a while and don't really have to
Get
post.
millions of views.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think like maybe if we get far in this,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be like, oh my gosh. I mean, it'll be that way for all of them, but like Jimmy would be the one where it'd be like, I grew up watching Jimmy and thinking that he was like the person that made me feel like I could do it.
Yeah. I definitely feel inspired to record content the way that Jimmy does with like a head cam. Like I feel like he brings such a different perspective to the table. Like live streams are great. I love that Skizz and Impulse and all of them do live streams. And even Green's like occasional surprise live streams are awesome. I
Yeah.
wish he did headcam, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But there's something like when I go through and watch all the life series perspectives, Jimmy's is so exciting because I get to actually see his face.
Yeah.
And I realized that when I watch other people's POVs, even though we're just looking at the Minecraft skins, I visualize Jimmy
Yeah.
and the way that he reacts to things and his facial expressions. And I can't really do that for like any of the rest of them.
Yeah. So Jimmy, if you're listening to
Um,
this, you're gonna be the equivalent of Etho when we're in the
right?
YouTube
Right?
space.
I can't even, my brain can't even comprehend what Etho looks like when he's playing Minecraft.
Yeah, because no one's ever seen what he looks like.
I know, but it's
I
like,
don't even know how
like I
old
can't
he
even.
is.
I know he's an anomaly. He's just like
He's a mystery.
he's a mystery. But like also like Joel, like I've watched him live stream, but I still can't really visualize. Like I could visualize his face because there's a lot more YouTube videos out on his and Lizzie's channel of them doing cute relationship stuff. But I still feel like I can't, like when I'm watching them play Minecraft, I don't visualize his face. I visualize his skin.
Yeah. I
So
don't even think about it that much, I don't think.
I don't really either. So this is just me really getting into my head about it.
Yeah.
But I do picture Jimmy. Like that is for sure.
Yeah. I can definitely picture Jimmy more.
Yeah.
But that's because he is always there.
He always has his face cam, yeah.
So
But yeah, so back on the
Season that
topic of
face
Ren.
card. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
You're good. Back on the topic of Ren.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about when he was talking about his moment, when they were talking about their moments where they realized Minecraft was so much bigger than just a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about the lightning sequence for the thing that they did. Have you watched that? Because I actually haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Because I have only really just started watching season 8.
I remember.
10. I don't know why I said 8. I think I was thinking 8 because I'm assuming it's from season 8 because I think I remember them collabing in that season. So I want to hear about your experience watching that as a viewer, which maybe that was just from Green's POV, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it must have probably just been from Green. If anyone else, it might have been Impulse, but I think it was probably just Grian. Um,
Okay.
this is gonna sound so like annoying, but I was actually kind of annoyed by it because I hate it when there's like a bunch of mods on Minecraft and they like change the game, and so I was like, what is this? This is ridiculous. Why are they doing this to the game? Like, seriously? And that season
That's so funny.
isn't one of my favorites because of the things that they did, but
Sure.
it was weird. Like, I never got any explanation for what was going on. It just like
Right.
happened. There was like a huge it was so loud and like
Right. That's what Impulse was saying.
and it was just like, what is that? And everyone was like immediately like, what is happening right now? Who did something? And it was like, I mean, no one had ever experienced anything like that in the game. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
Grian definitely flew over and was like, what is happening? They broke the game
That's
or
that's
something like
funny.
that. But yeah, it was weird. I was thinking about it when they were talking about it, and I was like, I do remember that. But
Yeah.
there's too much
Yeah.
lore that season. I just couldn't get behind it.
You just like some good old fashioned Minecraft.
Yeah. I mean, good segue. What I enjoy the most about Hermitcraft is the relationship and the conversations, and I don't want to hear made up stories. I want to hear authentic, fun, like
Personal
unfiltered
interactions.
stories that happen organically.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you, do a bunch of stuff and then be like, "Oh my gosh, how did this get here?" Like, please.
Yeah.
We all know you built it. Just we're here to watch you play the game, not make up a
Me
story.
when Grian was like, "What is this rift in my basement?" I was like, "Bro,
Yeah, we all
we know
know.
you put it there."
Listen,
Which he did like then explain how he built it. He's like, "Oh yeah, so I did this with ender rods," and I was like, "Oh, that's really
it was
cool,"
funny. That's what Joel was doing over on Empires at the same time, though, where he was
Mm-hmm.
like, but he was making a bit out of it, where he was like, "Oh my gosh,
Right.
lore," and then it would be a bunch of stuff. And it
That's
was so
so
funny
funny.
because he was like teasing at it because I think that he thinks it's stupid too, but
Yeah.
he would be like, whatever. He would just say stuff that was like, he had like a fountain and he would jump in it and he was like, and when I jump in this fountain, lore happens. And then he would show the time lapse of him building it and it was pretty funny.
That's funny. Yeah, I think from my perspective, which is pretty limited because I've only seen like a few videos of Grians here and there from season 8, and past videos, but like I I think there's definitely like there's a space and a place for those styles of playing. And I think that them as a group are perfectly within their rights to experiment and try new things. I really hope that there was still like a part of their group as a whole that still had fun with that season, even though if it was really stepping out of their comfort
I'm
zone and
sure
their
that they did,
normal.
yeah.
And like, even if there was elements, I'm kind of like making the assumption that some of that falling into trends and hype and trying to like,
Yeah.
listen to the algorithm and try and do all of that, like probably went into that time frame because it was such a different season.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it was just probably really out of the norm for that group when they'd primarily just hung out and people loved that about their channel. And so I'm glad they've been able to come back into what they are normally, and that's what they seem to love the most. Um, and I'm glad that they have a good community of viewers that like support that and like they can just flourish and be in their normal environment, and not feel like they have to
Yeah.
mod the server a ton to do stuff. But I think that modding and doing some extra stuff with Minecraft worlds can be really cool and can be really fun. Like, I understand the point that I completely understand where you come from with that. I also get what Ren was talking about with just like, even just as the game, like, the game has the capability to be adjusted and changed. I mean, they do that. They add in new stuff with updates and things like that.
Right.
And just like his perspective on seeing that like Minecraft has the capacity and potential to be a Hollywood set, which is such a cool concept. Like, that is a very real world thing that takes a lot of work and detailing and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, same thing can be said for constructing a altered Minecraft world. And just, like, to be able to add all these special effects and all of these cool things
Yeah.
is really cool. So it was kind of wild watching the clip. I was so like, what is happening? I figured it was a mod of some sort.
I don't know. Maybe it was some
But
kind
that's
of
also
actual
like
mechanic.
me not knowing all of Minecraft's custom like components.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if
The only thing I could possibly like
maybe I doubt
comprehend
it.
it happening is if they had a bunch of the tridents. What are they called? The ones that is it channeling? The channeling tridents? If they
Maybe
had like a bunch of them, those are the ones that like bring lightning down when you shoot them. So I'm wondering if like it had something to do with that, where you had like a bunch of them fired at the same time in the same spot, and then it was like,
if he managed to do that without modding, that would be insane.
I mean,
that would be really crazy.
The thing is that Hermitcraft is supposed to be a vanilla server. Like, visual mods are different, but like I feel like that's pushing the boundary of a visual mod.
I guess so, but I do know from my research with when I had found like information about the big moon thing, right? Mm-hmm. And that was a data pack.
Right.
And so I don't really know about like I don't really know. I feel like from my understanding the moon being big was the only visual effect. I feel like stuff with like blocks breaking and everything seemed like their own like alterations and just like breaking blocks and then being floating, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at that. Yeah. That was very bizarre to me. I was like, this seems like a lot.
That season was so crazy.
So yeah. I don't know. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But
I'll let you say though, cool. It was
kinda, I mean, like cool visual.
Yeah.
Regardless of like should or shouldn't or all that. But yeah, I thought that was it.
All that to say, like obviously I still liked the season. Like I've seen it I think twice. Yeah. And I loved Grian's build. I loved Mumbo's build. I loved Bodum. That was an amazing world. I loved all the early game stuff. Like, yeah. The only part where it got like iffy for me was when they started leaning a little bit too hard into the moon thing, and I was like, we all know that you put the mod on. Like, we all know. It's okay. Just, it's less. I think it puts a wall up between your audience and your content, because it's like it's less personal, where you're putting up like oh, I did this behind the scenes, but you don't know what it is, so I'm going to be acting like this is happening, but that's so much less authentic. Like,
yeah.
And I'm glad that they changed that.
Yeah. Something else I have thought about too is that like just from watching season 9, Grian's process of like handling lore introduction. Excuse me.
I had something.
Like with the rift, he obviously did a little bit of mystery.
Yeah.
But also he, then followed up with explaining how he built it, because obviously he didn't actually. There isn't, like he was not actually trying to convince anyone it was real, right?
Right.
And maybe that's just a level of like Grian's ability to improv storytell.
Uh-huh.
Like he's not known for storytelling.
Yeah.
But
I would actually argue that a little bit, and this is something I wanted to bring up, but he there's a lot of like natural lore that comes up out of the season. Like if we
Sure.
talk about season 6, like he brought up all this lore with that just came out naturally. It wasn't even like a made up story. It was stuff that was actually happening where it was like, they built a giant empire shop, and then there was another empire shop that was battling with their empire shop. And then there was like a
Mm-hmm.
whole war that went on later in the season.
Right.
And like that stuff is so much more interesting because there are actual people like taking a side. Like the turf war in season 7, it's like, no, of
Mm-hmm.
course Green didn't want the island to all be mycelium, but it was for the fun of it. Like he's just
Yeah.
that kind of person who's gonna make a fuss about something just for the fun of it. And he created that story just by being goofy about it. Like planting a couple blocks of mycelium and being like, no, the mycelium must stay. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and it became this whole thing. And then they had a bunch of mini games and stuff. And it's like, that's so much more interesting than saying, oh my gosh, I actually don't know what's happening to the moon. I don't know why it's big. Like, it's so
Yeah.
much different, but it's
Well, and
still
that's kind of
lore.
my point. Like, that's kind of my point being, like, as far as artificial, like, very far fetched, like, artificial storytelling
Mm-hmm.
is kind of more what I mean as far as, I used improv and that was the wrong word in my
No,
sentence.
you're good.
But, like, his ability to act in a way that is like untrue to the situation of what's happening organically, like this is the reason the life series works so well. And I think it works really well for all of them because I mean, I find improv really uncomfortable and stressful, but
Yeah.
I think if you work at it for long enough, it can work and it can be really fun as long as you don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest roadblock when I did theater in high school. Like, I was always way too in my head about trying to do improv
Yep.
instead of just letting things happen naturally.
Yeah.
So I guess the point that I was making more so was just like when it comes to these artificially created stories, like storytelling
Yeah.
of something that you're inserting into reality that isn't happening organically, that was a little less like his
Mm-hmm.
specialty. Like it's not a bad form of content.
Yeah.
It's just different. You know, that's what most media is that we consume. It's fake, fabricated stories.
Right.
Whereas, like, contrasting, Ren, to my understanding, is really big on these big, like, storytelling, making a, I think it blends really well into improv, like the conflict they had in the first season, Third Life. Or like his desire to become king in season 9
Yeah.
and that all happening really naturally. I didn't watch his videos from season 8, but I know that they were really heavy on lore and storytelling because that's kind of what they were collectively as a server trying to dip into
Mm-hmm.
was let's create, a whole thing. But I remember trying to watch his finale video randomly being like, what was going on with Ren with this thing? I don't even remember what prompted this. And I started up the video and it was so drenched in lore and storytelling. I was so lost. I was like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And that's on me for like trying to jump in at the end of something and then not giving it a chance because I didn't understand it at all. I was like, this is weird. I don't know what I'm watching. I'm just gonna, and I'm glad I didn't finish it because I think that wouldn't have done it justice. But I would imagine watching his season 8 all the way through probably tells a cool story,
Right.
which after listening to him talk about stuff on the podcast, it did kind of prompt me to want to explore that and just like see what he's passionate about
Right.
and see what he did with that season with Doc and yeah, but I think he has a very cool mind for
Yeah,
what he
absolutely.
does. And I loved hearing him talk about on the podcast, like the contrast of content creation and art. When he started up that sentence and he was like, I don't believe that content creation is art, I was like, what do you mean? And then as he talked more, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, putting what they do into a box as small as calling it content is just not doing it justice.
Yeah, it's a
I wish
production.
people recognized, yeah, I wish people recognized just how much love and care and hard work goes into what they do.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that like people that actually are like directors and producers who make TV shows and movies, they do one of the jobs that comes with making a production like that. And these
Mhm.
guys are doing every aspect of this world every time they make a video. It's, it's the filming. They're filming it, they're acting in it, they are editing it, they're coming up
Mhm.
with the ideas of what they're going to do, and then they're posting it, and it's all them. They write the storyboard, they write the script, which it's not scripted, but like for the
Right.
sake of this analogy, they write the
Mhm.
script, they press record, they direct their own episodes, they produce their own episodes fully, audio, visual, everything. And then
Yeah, they literally do.
from 0 to
They lit
100,
Oh.
every single point along the way is done by them. And obviously, people hire
Mhm.
editors and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
they came up with the
Some
style.
of them edited all themselves.
Yeah,
Cuz I think Skizz edits his own videos, doesn't he?
I think so.
So like, yeah, a lot of them are doing like pre
I'm pretty sure that Grian still
pre-production, production,
edits
and
his too.
yeah, I feel like he does. But like literally doing pre-production, the actual production and post-production, all of that.
Yeah.
It's all one man band.
For a 20-minute to up to an hour long video,
Mhm.
like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's true for anyone who makes YouTube videos, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, and there are difficulties in every area, but like of course there are people that do it and make videos where they're actually on camera and they have to do that much more of a step to set up all their stuff, and like it's so much, like the YouTube creator world is so much more than just posting a video, you know?
Yeah, posting a video of your video game.
Yeah, there is so much more to it. And
Yeah.
it's there are so many people that would say like it's not a real job, or you know, they just sit in their parents' basement and make videos because they can't support themselves or they can't get a real job. And it's like in reality they are working so hard,
Mhm.
and there's so much more that goes into it than just publishing your gameplay.
Right. So true.
So they deserve more credit for sure. And if kids
Facts.
say they want to be YouTubers, it's tough. And it's nothing to
Mhm.
be
Mhm.
scoffed at,
Mhm.
for sure.
Heard.
um,
On a shifting topic to a
okay.
different part of the podcast, since we're probably wrapping up here soon, but I wanted to
Yeah.
wanted to comment on this.
Yeah.
When he talked about writing his first book when he was 12, I thought that was really funny because I also wrote a short story when I was 12.
Really?
I was in a literature class at my co-op. I mean, it was like co-op, but like a little more professional level for homeschoolers because it was actually accredited.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was in a literature class and we had to write a short story for an assignment. And I was so proud of this short story that I had it printed by this like hardcover book printing company. It was very much like a kid thing
Mm-hmm.
that you could like, oh, print your book, for like kids.
Uh-huh.
Uh there were so many grammatical errors. I have this book like in my keepsakes.
Oh my gosh.
Um it's the most random story. I don't know what the premise rooted from at all. I won't go into it, but I just thought that the comparison was really funny. And like at that age too, I was really obsessed with typewriters.
Uh-huh.
My best friend growing up had one at a certain point, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life."
Yeah. I remember that. I also
But
wrote a
yeah.
short story sometime in middle school, and it was not
Yeah.
good. And somehow the boy that I liked at the time offered to edit it for me.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't even remember what it was about. But his was way, 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 way better than mine. And I was embarrassed afterwards because I was like, wow, I
Oh
am so
no.
terrible at writing anything. And I can't believe I had him edit it for me. But
I think it's so wild that Ren wrote that book with the intention of giving it to his crush.
yeah, that's.
It wasn't even like geared towards the audience. Like it wasn't written with the target audience in mind at all. It
No.
was just
It's
like
just a story.
very 13-year-old boy energy to just like write a book about what was currently trending, which was Jurassic Park. That's so funny.
I
I
mean, it's
love
the
that Skizz
effort.
picked up on that.
It's the effort,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
It's a masculine thing.
Right.
I also found it really interesting that he wrote poetry for his girlfriends in his 20s.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that if you were to receive poetry from your boyfriend that you don't have
Listen.
currently?
Wow, way to rub it in. No. The thing is, it's happened before.
The pause is real. Oh, it's happened before.
I've had poetry written about me before.
Was this from someone in middle school or
No.
was this from
This
an
was
ex?
a long-term boyfriend of mine. And I can tell
Oof.
you, even after probably a year and a half dating him, I got the ick so hard. Every
Oh
time he tried to
no.
make any kind of art for me.
Which is so interesting because I do feel like you are much more of a. I feel like you're a little more inclined to romantic gestures than I am.
Not like that.
Is that
But
accurate?
also the
Not
person
no
I was
no no I know, but in
dating,
a general sense.
the person I was dating was also just a very cringe person in general. Like there wasn't many things that he did that weren't hard to watch.
Sure.
It was endearing at first.
Begs the question why you ever dated
It was
him.
endearing at first. But it was kind of like, oh wow. It was honestly kind of pitiful. I think I felt sorry for him. But
Oh no. But in a general sense, not to like throw shade at this
No.
anonymous person, but just
just
like taking that out of the equation, as far as romantic gestures in general go, I feel like you enjoy them more than I do.
um
A little bit. You're a little more of a romantic than I am, I think.
in certain ways I don't think I would ever enjoy songs or poetry unless it was like corny, like anniversary after I'm married. You know what I'm saying? Like If I got a
Yeah,
little
fair.
sticky note on my bedside table on Valentine's Day with a corny poem, I wouldn't be mad about it. I would think it's probably
Yeah.
funny, but it wouldn't be like
Or
a
even just
serious
like
thing. Like I wouldn't take it
I
seriously.
think I think I could appreciate like little handwritten notes, like short
Yeah,
ones
but
or
not like a
something,
poem, like a
but not a poem,
words of affirmation
which is
or
so
just like an
sad.
encouragement.
Who led mankind wrong down the wrong path like and made them believe that we liked that?
I
Unless
mean,
there are women in the world that do, but
I'm going to just take it
I
all the way
mean,
back, and some people might be like, oh, wow, this is weird. But Garden of Eden, Adam, poetry, first thing. I'm not kidding. So it's somewhere in the biology.
I guess
Song of Solomon?
the gene pool skipped.
Songs of
The gene
Solomon?
pool skipped
I'm
over for
just,
us.
there's a lot of poetry in that book.
There is, there is.
It's something about, it's something, I don't know. I don't find it enticing.
But
I think that
but
maybe
like
there's a part of
Solomon
it.
had a pass because he had all of the wisdom.
He had all the
You know,
riz.
he was a very wise man. God blessed him with the spiritual gift of poetry
Right. Have you seen that
because of
reel
his
that's
wisdom.
like any guy trying to riz up a woman back in the whatever Bible days, and it's like Solomon coming in?
Yeah,
It's so
I can
funny.
visualize it. I don't know if I've seen it, but
It's pretty funny.
it's funny.
But
Well,
all that to say, I think that a big part of it is probably cultural issues.
yeah,
The men these days are not cultured, and they don't have the ability to write beautiful poetry. It's gonna be pretty
yeah,
bad. Um,
yeah,
and definitely not something to do fresh out of the gate. Like,
yeah.
if it's really like, if you know me really well and you're able to write something about me that's not like really corny, and it's
Pause,
like,
Ellie.
oh, okay.
What? She can if she sits quiet. Or we'll be done soon though. You can come in and sit on the bed as long as you're quiet. You're fine. Come on, Kiko. Make sure the other dogs don't follow. Well, just because of the door opening and closing, maybe just we'll be wrapped up pretty quick in a few minutes. So, you want to just come in and stay? Okay, that's fine. Everyone's going to bed, so they're like, Becca, it's done. Sorry.
Okay,
I've totally cut off your point, but go ahead.
we're good. I was just saying, oh, if I've known the person for a long time and he's able to write something that's really personal, like something about my character or like an enduring part of me that he actually appreciates, and it's not just like super mushy gross, like something that's actually like a well thought out, personalized, I can maybe see that being better. But still, I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it could be an issue.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I won't go into deep details, but maybe I have also experienced certain levels of poetry. Like, I don't know if this fits in the same category, but I did have an experience within Minecraft with a guy. And it was very thoughtful and sweet. And it was in like intentionally placed signage that I read, and it was a whole walk process. And it was very sweet.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I also, it did not hit the way that it was intended to land, and I felt pretty terrible that I wasn't wooed the way, it just didn't work. It just didn't work, and
I remember that.
it's really hard.
I remember you telling
Hard
me
to
about
disappoint people.
that. Yeah. And you like feel bad,
actually
but also
really
it's like, uh,
It's not for any specific reason that I can pinpoint where I'm like, oh, this is exactly why it was not good. It's not that it wasn't good, it just didn't land. And maybe, it could be generational. It could be people specific too. Like,
yeah, maybe when I find
some
the
girls
one
really
person,
dig poetry. I don't know.
maybe when I find the one person that I'm supposed to be with, I will appreciate it and it won't make me cringe and get the ick. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. But, kudos to Ren for trying.
Yeah, at least he did something.
It's the thought
A lot
that
of guys
counts.
don't do anything
Yep.
these days, so
That's so true.
at least
That's
he
so
did
true.
something.
Yes. Well, this has been really fun. I'm super excited for next week
Yeah,
to get to talk with Ren more.
yeah. I'm excited to hear more about him for sure. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave any questions you have in the question box if you're on Spotify. I don't really know how that works on any other platform, but
yeah,
if you have
we gotta figure out
questions.
how to get on YouTube, bro.
I know how. I was told how, but I
Yeah.
just haven't.
Yeah.
I don't really know why, but I guess
Sure. Yeah.
it seemed like if people are going to listen, I guess I thought they would listen on Spotify, but
That's very fair.
I
I don't
know.
really watch on YouTube unless if there's like a live camera.
Listen, Imp and Skizz, if you're listening right now, what is the deal with the release times? Because I listen to your podcast episode that comes out on Spotify at 6 in the morning when I wake up on Friday because I'm driving and I listen to it when I'm at the gym. But I can't go and watch the video until, I don't know, 8 or 9.
Yeah, true. What's up with that?
Like if you do a cold open and I open the Spotify app and I click on your episode and then you go, for those of you who aren't watching, we did a cold open that we did this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I should watch it. And then it's not there. And I'm like, oh,
there.
well, I guess I'm just going to not watch it.
You guys should probably fix that.
Yeah. I don't really know why there would be a difference, but
True.
just a suggestion.
All right, guys.
Or a request or whatever.
Well, this has been a good podcast week.
Yeah.
Thank you again for listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
That was so
we will
stupid.
see
I don't
you
know why I
guys-
said that.
I don't know why you said that.
Anyway, bye. Okay, it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for
Bye.
listening.
It's giving Chick-fil-A food line. Have a nice day. Or enjoy your food. Thanks, you too. That was so funny. Okay.